Hungry, gotta think business. United we stand, divided we fall. I love my blackness. I love my blackness. We so resilient. I love my blackness. Yo, we all so brilliant. I love my blackness. 2002.
What up, world? Welcome to Wttdx. I'm the Dean, man. Hey, making things happen, you feel me, baby? Hey, that snippet you heard, that's from my new single, I Love My Blackness. Simply cause I love my blackness. You know what I'm saying? Gotta make it happen, you know, making big things happen, making big moves, you know. And I invite you to come grow with me. You know, plenty of business ventures going on, have new businesses going, and this episode, I'm taking y'all to the conversation. This conversation I had with Kid from AWKWAMAN Beatz. You know, cool spirit, you know. And yeah, this will be the second video of the 3, like I mentioned before. So hey, let's get to it. Hey man, you gotta stay grinding, man. Stay grinding. You know, never give up, never stop. You have any passion, you know what I'm saying? You have a passion and your aspiration and dreams, make it happen, man. Nobody's gonna do it for you feel me? That's just a quick word. Let's get to the show. Welcome to DEEEAAANXperience. I'm in it still. This your manifest once you put in the atmosphere.
Yep.
You know?
Pull it out the ether and put it in the atmosphere, yep.
Yeah. That's why like you put them to work. Put them angels to work, you just did it. Angels out there, you just did it. Speak into existence. Straight up. Yeah, we got a lot more power than we know.
Yeah, it's so true, man. It's so true. It's amazing, honestly. Like it'll have you laughing and crying like in no time. Anybody, you know, because it's just like you start to realize the real range and I guess like the depth of self. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, exactly. Because we're deeper than just this flesh. We're deeper than
oh yeah, majorly.
Hey, this flesh, this skin, like this. Like I'm about to put it out there. This BS racism going on. This is bull. Like we're all the same. I've mentioned it in the last episode. We all have the same 99.9% DNA.
Yep.
Like, what is this? So it's clearly deeper than this. It's deeper than this. It
is. And it's a systematic thing, you know, like there's systemic, but then it goes into even the wordplay of it all. Because like when I was a kid, especially in California, we're super progressive. So I mean, like I had friends of every different shade, and like I didn't understand when I was told that I was white. I was really confused.
Interesting.
I was so confused.
Interesting.
Because I was like, my eyes white, like that's white, you know. As a kid, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I'm not white, really. If anything, I'm like peach. And I was like, and my friend, he's not black. He's more like a brown, ebony color. But he's not black. Like black is night, and white is white as the sun. Like why would people try to polarize things so heavily in that with that language? You know, it didn't make sense to me. Because people are people. Everybody's so different, and like you said, everybody's so unique, every person to person. So it's like it's so interesting that anybody could be grouped as, even when it comes into the whole gender thing, like trying to run men against women, but they work in collaboration, you know. And it's like it's the same thing with the politics, like, you know, the right and the left. It's like you're gonna find flaws and great things on both sides, you know, because it's people. It's made up of people, and people are duplistic at times.
Yeah.
So we just got to focus on the betterment of the better side of all things. You know, if we focus on the good side of all things, then we can see that pattern. But if we focus on the bad side of things, then we see that pattern.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's all your perspective. Perspective at the end of the day, you know, it's like, relevant. That's what I want to say. It's very relevant.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, and it's everlasting. Like, it's always going to follow you.
Yeah, it's true.
Where you go, whatever studio you go to, wherever you go, whatever walk of life you're at or you're in, you know, it's going to follow you. For real.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, that's how I honestly, and this could be a shout out to all the producers out there, really any entrepreneur, business person.
Shout out all entrepreneurs, definitely.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, just just asking questions, sometimes you end up developing the best service and the best product, because a lot of people don't talk to their potential customers, or people that are customers. They don't talk to them, and like I talk to, and I'm sure you do too, but like talking to artists, you can learn a lot about things that you didn't know you knew just by asking people questions if they need help with something, and they're like, oh yeah, how do you do this? And you're like, oh, I didn't even realize I knew how to do that, and now I have this valuable piece of information that I can put into a little ebook or something, or a little video tutorial. And that's just what's good for, like you said, it's universal. It's going to carry over. So if somebody's discovered a good way, there's nothing wrong with all of us putting that into one pool so we can all figure it out, and we're going to all apply it in a different way in the end anyways.
Definitely. I mean, that's kind of like, it's like, I'm pretty sure you've seen like YouTube videos of different. Actually, you had with producer. Y'all put a sample out, right? And everybody produced the same sample, right?
Yeah, we just dropped one today. Yep.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and it's like, all those beats are gonna be different.
They're gonna be so unique, man. That's what I miss about the beat battles. I used to do beat battles in real life. I did a few of them when I first started.
Oh yeah.
And I got knocked out the first round, but it was a great learning experience.
It's a great learning experience.
People would take the samples that they would provide in the pack online before everybody would meet up in real life, and they make their beats, and it was just crazy because like sometimes they would make it to where you can't even use drums unless they come from the sound, and you create the drums out of flipping the sample, and it's doable. Like any real good engineer knows that you can do that, but it just takes time. And there was people that would do it at these beat battles, man, and it would just blow me away at how one could sound like operatic, like symphonic music, and the next one could sound like a gritty trap beat, and it's all from the same sample, and you're like, wow, how do they do that?
Them own spirit, that's their own self. That's their own mind. Everybody thinks differently. They have a different mind, personality, Some people might, like you said, it's gonna be a darker, some people are bright, some people are different genres. Somebody make that sample to a reggae beat, somebody make that sample to a pop beat. To a real trap or a gritty beat, it's like
and I always end up flipping stuff too, like I think that's one of my favorite thing about working with different clients on custom beats, because they'll say, hey, like I got this idea, maybe it could be like a Kendrick beat, but I don't want it to be just like that. I want you to do your thing with it. And then it's like, okay, this is how I would express that energy. And then I go in there, I'm like, okay, there's a flute there, but I like this piccolo rather than that Native American flute. And I like this little bit more thumpy kick versus this punchy kick, and it's like little things.
The choices, man. Yeah, definitely. Like I remember like me personally, like when I first started producing, I'm still kind of like, but not as much. But I used to be big on strings, like high strings.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just high strings would be like one that convey that emotion and all that, everything. Even the melody was high string, like complete.
Like some like Bill Withers stuff.
Now I just kind of reserve that to the ambience nowadays, but it's like, I mean, it just depends on your mind, it depends on what you think. Like, it depends on how you feel. Like me personally, I go into like, it's different. Every session, like, every time I'm making a beat is different.
Same here. It's like a little world in its own.
Exactly. Like, okay, what I feel like, what's today? What beat I'm making today? Like, what type of genre and all that? What I'm feeling today?
Yeah.
This is all based on feeling.
Totally.
I feel like,
emotional intelligence.
I feel exactly. What emotion I want to convey right now. And then make it. Pretty much.
Comes out the best, honestly. Because like I relate it to like sort of the Buddhist approach to things too. Is like take life serious. Serious is one of those Buddhist sayings, and like I've learned that works so well for me. When take life serious, but don't take it too serious.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And so I like treat treat my music sessions that way, and like I've noticed if I'm trying too hard, it just won't come out. But if I'm just feeling it, and I'm feeling it, passionate about it before I even sit down on the computer, it comes out
great,
magnificently. And I don't. It's not even. It's almost like I'm not even there.
Yeah, it's just like you. It's like flow state. It's just like it's a spiritual thing. You just go.
Yeah.
It's like on autopilot. You just like, right?
Yep. It writes itself.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just the conduit, through which the vessel that it got channeled through. But that was already there. That song was already there.
Yeah, like me personally, like going back to you saying with the Buddhists, take life serious, but not too serious. That's true, because like I was a perfectionist in an imperfect world.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I'm still have that in me, but I kind of gotta calm
part of the
down.
artistry.
It's not the artistry, yeah. It's just naturally like, no, I want it just like this. But sometimes imperfection is better.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes it is,
The creative flair, it's a little your own unique signature on it.
Yeah.
And, there's that one line by Macklemore where he said, the real artist is never satisfied. So I guess that's the sacrifice.
True.
And I was like, it is so true. And when you think about the totality of all things, like source self, the God consciousness, that is perfect. So anything that's an abstract of it can't be perfect.
Of course.
So like,
amen. Amen. All right.
Yeah, like the artist
all
of
that.
the Renaissance or the Middle Age, they wouldn't. Some of them wouldn't sign their work because they didn't want to market as their own or claim it as their own, and they also they would leave purposeful mistakes or like little, like you could still see the pencil or lead sketch lines behind the paint or something. They would purposefully make it imperfect.
Yeah.
And it was almost like just a sign of like the never-ending process. And that actually relates back to another Buddhist thing. I can't remember where this is at, but it's somewhere in the East, but they make these giant sand murals on the floor, and they spend like days or weeks doing it. And then at the end, they just they take a broom and just mess it all up. And it's like this concept that it's never a complete story. It's always a never-ending process of renewal and self-discovery and expression, and it keeps you motivated for that, rather than getting caught up on the one beat or the one art piece or the one painting. And that was my end. That was the best I was ever gonna do.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, going off of that, it's like my second father, like he always told me he produced, he's making. I was like, he was give me beats growing up. He's like, don't fall in love with this beat. Don't fall in love with this beat. Like, don't you think this is yours? Don't fall in love with this beat. Like, and I just took that like, it's true. Don't fall in love, man. Like, you gotta, like, it's always another one.
Yeah, it's true.
In life, you can't stress over it. It's always another.
Yeah. There's always another chance. There's always another relationship. There's always another opportunity.
Always another. As long as you will have another day, there's always another.
Yeah, the sun's gonna shine. Yep.
So it's like, shit, that's what that is. But definitely,
yeah.
Well, I definitely appreciate you coming on. I gotta.
Yeah, man.
I
it
got
was
more
blast,
stuff.
Man. I'm glad we hit it off.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was dope. It's fun. Very fun.
Yeah.
Very informative.
Yeah, I like I've
energy.
been having more conversations like this with folks that I can relate to, even outside of just the music, and I've noticed it happens more and more as the years progress. Before I was so used to the organic, just like going out to shows, and I had spent 10 years doing that. So we started to build up that energy, but then these last few years, first you start out and there's just tons of trap rappers and producers out there. Everyone's doing specific things, but then you start to find your relatable interests in kind of like the soul tribe, because then you're like, oh, these people are actually they're pretty diverse and unique, and they got depth to themselves, and it's fun when you start to interact with more people that I guess look at all the different aspects of it, not just the music solely.
Yeah, I mean, kindred spirits naturally gravitate to each other.
Yeah,
it's only natural. I mean, you don't gravitate somebody that's all extra negative and not like, no, I want to deal with you.
It's true. It is true, man.
I mean, I pray for you, all right. God bless you and all that good stuff, but
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, it's always good, maybe a passing conversation, because I'll definitely have those.
Definitely.
And try to just share the
positive energy.
source.
Oh yeah, share the source. I like that. Yeah, share the source. Yeah,
share the source.
Yeah,
like that was one of my favorite things too. Before we get out of here, I always kind of think about that fact. Like, I don't know if you know the term bodhisattva within Buddhism.
Bodhisattva?
Yeah, bodhisattva. So
I've heard of it. I'm not too familiar.
So yeah, like within Buddhism, like the Buddha is just like, the realized one. Like the story is of Siddhartha, but that the state is similar to like Christ's state. You can realize that oneness of things. And in the new age, you got a lot of people out here nowadays who are, they have the realization that like everything's one, but they're not working on trying to convey that through the normal mundane individual. So like it gets big picture, and maybe people know how to meditate and find the light within and all that, but they stop there and don't really think, okay, how can we cultivate this in a regular every day-to-day, wake up, get your breakfast, go to work, go to school, go to the city sort of deal. So the bodhisattva is simultaneously accepting the divine providence of self, but at the same time keeping a foot in the terrestrial realm and working it into the daily flow. Like I could even work it into me being a janitor. I could work it into me making beats. But I keep the divine principles and understanding that that's through everyone's heart. That connection's always there. And so I can be just a normal human, and I can do very divine things just through the very basic acts of being a human.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, we human, but like I said again, we're spirit.
Yeah.
Well, we're spirit, and like even all the separate levels of separation, even like religion, like that's a man-made thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, like much respect to everybody whoever, each your own how you find your way to God. But as long as you find your way, as long as you find your way, that's,
I mean, it's God's all around. So
God's all around. As long as you find your way, you know what I mean. And it's like the stories are all similar practically anyway. Like, there's so many holy trinities.
Yep, totally.
To be honest,
when you start looking into it, it all relates back to source. Source is everything. So source is God's gonna reflect everywhere. that was the interesting thing about really starting to realize the nature of God, and how if God was a snake, we'd all be bit.
True.
It's so like God's so overly abundant that we forget that God's there, and that's we're looking straight past it, and it's just stopping and smelling the roses and realizing that it's always been right there in front of our face. We're just looking too far.
Literally, He created us all equal and the same. Like He created us all on an equilibrium on the same level. Like no one's better than the other, no hierarchies and all that. That's all man-made.
No, that's all man-made institutions and cultural appropriation. That's just it's just layers. That's the crap layers, as I say, that cover the beautiful gem that is underneath every human soul.
Amen. Yes.
The layers get caked on when you start walking the terrestrial realm, and it brings lessons with it. But then then we shed those layers and we get to rediscover the gem that is within the heart, and the heart intelligence. It's like it's so good, man, when we can let it out and we can live just through that high vibration of love, because there is no higher vibration, and it's man, and it can manifest in every form too, and that's the most intense thing about it. Is I'd actually even say like the illusion of separation is actually just the distortion of the love energy, because they just misinterpreting the love energy. So it seems like a plague or something bad, but it's like, you're just being resistant to it. You gotta let it flow. It flows, and it brings itself into the equation, and now all of the turmoil. It's like I related to water being AWKWAMAN, the whole thing with water is when water's turbulent, you can't see nothing. 80%. But then when water's still and calm and you meditate, then it's clear. And you can see everything. Everything's perfect, and most things are water. So
that's just like the mind. Once you have a clear mind, you have a clear path. So it's like it's kind of
when the mind's in a frenzy, like it is with a lot of folks on the planet right now, then it manifests physically. And but it always comes from the inside out. It's never from the outside in.
True. It definitely. But I mean, people that don't know that will be influenced by the outside.
Yes, absolutely.
Outside does attack the subconscious or the inside.
It does.
You know, we'll be watching all these shows, all this negativity going on these shows and all that. Like the sells, controversy sells, and that's where we going.
It really does. It really does. And
like,
you know, it's like the whole world's always been a mess. But it goes back to the whole thing of mindset. You know, we realize that you can when things are messy. Well, now there's plenty of opportunity to make things right. But if we're not thinking like that, then we're victims of it, and we become subservient to the outside world, and we feel as though it's oppressing, and it is at all times. Like the very nature of reality is that the external factors will always be in a state of trying to induce oppression. And then it comes down to the individual to decide, okay, am I going to be my own oppressor and join the oppression, or am I going to say, no, this is not right. I acknowledge it. I see that it's there. I see that these institutions are here, whether it's, you know, racism, whether it's inequality for women, whether it's, you know, any kind of hate.
All the isms. All the isms.
All the isms. Yeah. It's just, all that is just it's just the hiccup and the hurdle whenever love isn't acknowledged, you know. And as soon as love's brought back into the picture, all that stuff is put into perspective. And then we can suddenly realize how and why it's so easy for everything to be pinned up against itself. Well, because everybody's unique. Everybody's a unique little soul. But in that very fact, we all have commonality because we're all unique. So it's the diversity needs to be celebrated. It needs to be you know, infatuated, but never in contrast, always in always in relatability, always in
inclusion, not exclusion.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. I get it. Yeah, 100%. It's true, man. It's like, you can't have this separatist mindset and expect, you know what I mean? Like,
because that's the individual. Then the individual's divided. They're divided within themselves. Yep. Let thine eye be single. Let thine eye be single. Yeah. Ooh. The heart mind, the one eye inside the heart, you know, and then that's what it is. But we're too busy. Like I came up with this a few weeks back when I was conversing with someone online, and I think it was a live chat, and they were talking about how everybody's got it all wrong because they're trying to understand the heart through the means of the mind. And I was like, yeah, but you got to understand the mind through the means of the heart. And because when you try to understand the heart by the mean, it doesn't make sense because you're trying to understand it in a rational way, and it doesn't work like that. Exactly. But the feeling is always right if it's given to the intelligible information, you know. So it's like, it's just, we're so mind centered as a society. We're so overly rational that we forget to feel. We forget that we actually have feeling. we can feel our way through things.
Yeah. You want a more optimized experience with your YouTube? Check out my buddy, your buddy, TubeBuddy. You click the link down below, you get a discount. You know, I appreciate that. Because, you know, I get a little change for that too. Everything is needed. Much love. For more videos of Wttdx and the Stu, click these videos.